This is the Cool Meanderings with Dr. Germ G podcast. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Cool Meanderings with Dr. Germ G. I'm your host, Dr. Germ G, still an aspiring writer, educator, lover of comics, sports, movies, culture, and entertainment. I'm here tonight to give my review of the new Superman movie. Let me tell you, I loved it. It was a pleasant surprise. I had a lot of fun. I think James Gunn is a genius. I think he figured out a way to take this classic character that's been done, in my opinion, far too many times, and put a new twist on it. I thought, looking at the pictures leading into the film, I wasn't sure about David Corenswet as Clark Kent or Superman, particularly Clark Kent. I wasn't really digging the whole curl hairdo. But then, it is 2025, and I guess old things can become new. I would say that his chemistry with Rachel Brosnahan, who was Lois Lane in the movie, chemistry was okay. It was good. But I felt like we got just enough of the two, but not too much. Somehow Gunn found a way to reinvent Superman with some old material with new stuff, and it just worked. It was fun. Now let's face it, Gunn is working from the bottom up because DC crashed and burned with the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. I mean, there was nowhere to go but. I mean, let's be honest. The Snyderverse, the Zack Snyder universe of DC movies, it wasn't all that. It was a huge disappointment. Come on. It just was. Let's just be honest. And so, listen, Gunn, who was brilliant, I mean, he was brilliant in the MCU, took an obscure IP in Guardians of the Galaxy and made it a hit. I mean, in my opinion, all three films were a hit. I know Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is probably people's least favorite, but it's still better than most MCU projects. Listen, James Gunn just seems to know what he's doing with comic book movies. I mean, even his version of the Suicide Squad was great. So I think James Gunn is on it. Now, he wasn't, my understanding is that, he had a pretty good handle on that Suicide Squad movie. I know that there were other folks involved, but that's not the point. The point is that James Gunn has a good handle on the IP for these comic book movies, so that's cool. And it definitely showed with this movie. I mean, without a doubt. I thought that Gunn definitely, he extended his version of DC but reintroduced one of the flagship characters in a way that I think, without raising too many expectations, it just sets the table for some interesting opportunities. I didn't think the whole Justice Gang of America would work, but you know what? It was a brilliant idea. I loved all the characters. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. He was funny. He was funny as heck. I mean, I thought Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho was great. Isabella Merced as Hot Girl, she was okay. She was cool. Man, Eddie Nafegi as Michael Holt, aka Mr. Terrific. Wow, amazing, just amazing. I mean, his chemistry with all the other actors in the film, just amazing. And I'm happy for Eddie Nafegi because I remember when he played obscure character in X-Men First Class, how they killed him off in the middle of the movie. I was like, oh, that sucks. And I don't know why, but I just never forgot that. And seeing him play Mr. Terrific 14 years later and really just be the unsung hero of the film, I thought was awesome, just fantastic. He had a great performance, a very believable Mr. Terrific. I can't imagine that this will be the last time we see his character. I know that they're going to have the Justice Gang of America in season 2 of The Peacemaker, but I would expect that we'll see more of this character in future DCU projects, whether they be TV or movies. It was just that kind of performance. Um, yeah, it was great. It really was a fantastic movie. Um, I had mild expectations. I didn't really have high expectations going into the movie, and so I was pleasantly surprised, along with the rest of the audience. Yeah, there were some things seemed a little that seemed to be a little off, but that's okay. I mean, no movie is perfect, and Superman obviously has its flaws, but I thought that they nailed the plot, they nailed the key element of his origin in a way that hasn't been done before. And even his parents in Smallville, it felt like a real Smallville. That's all I'm gonna say. Like his parents, man, they, it felt like he was in small town Kansas somewhere. And I don't want to offend, but that's just the way it came off. It came off like, wow, this dude has really gone home and it's to small town Kansas where he grew up, and it was beautiful. It really was. It was refreshing. Again, they took an old classic character and redid it in a way that just made it fun, fresh, exciting. Yes, it opens the door to possibilities, but they don't overpromise. So that's cool. But the path has been laid for projects, and based on what they want to do, and we'll see. We're probably getting a Supergirl movie in the near future. That's cool. Again, I'm keeping my expectations for DCU at the bottom, even with this great outcome for Superman. History suggests you just have to take these DCU projects one by one. It's just you just got to take them one by one because man, the track record suggests just don't get your hopes up. Have realistic expectations. Superman was fun, a great movie. It could end up being a one-off, or it could be the start of a completely fun and interesting universe where we get to see characters in the DC universe that we haven't really seen on the big screen. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor was okay. Um, I don't know. I haven't really. I don't think I've liked any of the any of the versions of Lex Luthor, with the exception of the Smallville TV series. I thought that version of Lex Luthor is hands down the best. I thought the way that they wrote that character and portrayed not just Luthor but his alliances and company Luthor Corp. To me, the Smallville version of Lex Luthor is the best. Everything else is just pales in comparison. I can't think of another version of Lex that comes close. This one is okay. This one is okay. Definitely better than what we got with Jesse Eisenberg and Batman versus Superman. Way better than that. Um, I don't know if it's better than Kevin Spacey's version of Lex Luthor. I thought his version of Lex Luthor was a bit imposing. I would say this version of Luthor is in the middle, although he is brilliant. But I think all versions of Luthor tend to be on the smarter side. But this one definitely had some elements of realism that made him somewhat believable, but not my favorite part of the film. I would say that this version of Luthor is okay. I mean, if they somehow bring him back, that's great. But if they don't, that's okay too, because I think Gunn is going to open up the book. He's going to open up the catalog. I would expect anyway. I would expect James Gunn to open up the catalog of the DC universe and show us some fresh looks at characters we hadn't seen before. So that's cool. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see what comes next, and that's a good thing. That's a huge positive for DC. The fans are excited about Superman. The way he's been reinvented for modern audiences, I think is great. Now let's see what happens next. Now there's some talk, some rumor that maybe the box office may overshadow Marvel's Fantastic Four, but I'm not buying it. The MCU's Fantastic Four will make their debut in a little less than 2 weeks. Movie's coming out nationwide on July 25th. I'll probably catch it the night before. All I will say is this: if you go back, right, this Superman movie is supposed to be the introduction of the DC universe. Okay, after some questionable projects. Well, if you go back to 2008, Iron Man came out in May 2008, and it was Marvel Studios' first project. It was the beginning of the MCU, and it was the start of a quest after some good to okay Marvel projects. You had some great to good. I would say the great Marvel projects pre MCU were probably the first two Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, the first Blade movie, maybe the first and second X-Men films, and then you had the okay flicks like Blade 2, X-Men 3, maybe the first Fantastic Four, the second one perhaps, and then you had the movies like Spider-Man 3 and Blade 3 and stuff like that. But that all changed with the introduction of Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., in May 2008. Marvel decided to set a new course with its IP, and it was the beginning of what's been, what are we at? Year 17? Year 17 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's been fantastic. It's been a great ride. But at that moment, that movie, it was a pleasant surprise, and it set things in motion. It was Marvel's moment, Marvel's moment to shine and to let the world know, the entertainment world know that Marvel Studios was on the map. But you know what? DC had a project coming out that same summer, and I don't think people were that concerned about it being overshadowed, but I'm sure there was some speculation. But just remember, DC had a project that came out after Iron Man, and that project went on to become, in my opinion, probably the greatest comic book movie of all time, and perhaps one of the greatest film projects of all time, particularly if you ask the American Film Institute. They would say that Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, which came out in July, I believe, of 2008, is one of the greatest films ever. I believe it's in the AFI Top 100 or the AFI greatest list of greatest films. I believe it's there. I believe it's there, and I'm not surprised because, in my mind, it's one of the few films that I could watch again and again and again and again. So what am I saying? I'm saying that however great the Superman film is and will perform in the box office, I have no doubt that the MCU will show out with its Fantastic Four films. Based on all the clips that I've seen and stuff that I've looked at, I can't imagine this MCU version of the Fantastic Four floundering. I can't imagine us getting another Quantumania or Thor: Love and Thunder or anything like that. I think that this is the beginning of a pivot well, you could say started with you know, Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think this is the real pivot. I think this is where Marvel is pivoting to the beginning of its reboot. You're gonna have Fantastic Four, Then we'll have Spider-Man Brand New Day next year, and then in next summer, and then next Christmas will be the true beginning of the pivot to the reboot. Well, the pivot is now, but it will be the heart of the changes that are coming for the MCU with Avengers Doomsday in December 2026, and then finally Avengers Secret Wars in December 2027. And with that, we'll see the end of the multiverse saga and the beginning of the new MCU and the mutant saga and whatever else they have coming down the pipe. So, again, I say all that to say that Superman was great. I loved it. Fantastic job. Excellent cast. Great script. James Gunn is the man. But no way do I think it will overshadow the Fantastic Four. In fact, I'm not putting any money on it. I'm super confident that this is just the beginning of what's to come. So, yeah, definitely go see it if you haven't already. It's a late Saturday night here, so I would imagine people are probably seeing it now. If you haven't, if you're still wondering if you should spend the money, waste your time, do it. Superman's worth it. It's fun. It's 2 hours of fun. More than anything else, it just felt like fun. I just had a good time. Sometimes you just need to go to the theater and have a great time, and Superman does that. You know, if you, without overthinking some of the themes and messages, and there are some themes there. Oh yes, Gunn he was spitting fire with some themes throughout the project. Oh yes, oh yes, yes. One particular quote I thought spoke a lot, not only about what was happening in the film, but about some of the previous projects. That quote was "brains over brawn." I'll leave it there. Brains over brawn. If you think about it, that one quote said a lot. It said a lot. It really did. But there were subliminal messages that one could interpret throughout the film, I thought, that to me appeared to suggest that Gunn was giving his critique, his passive aggressive critique of the Snyderverse and the MCU to some extent too. But also, on, he was also used the film to make some social commentary about particular issues that are divisive in the country right now. And hey, that's not unusual. Artists do tend to, communicate through their art, communicate any sort of social commentary that they think is necessary. That's all good. To me, it's all good. I'm not a politician. I don't have a dog in the fight. So I still believe in free speech. So good on him. Good on him. Yeah. Well, I hope you go see it. I actually might go see it again, although I'm on the fence. It was fun though. If I want to have two more hours of fun within the next 2 weeks, I might go see it again. But I'm pretty busy. But I will say, if you haven't seen it, do so ASAP. All right. With that, I think I'm going to cut it short. I'll be back soon with my review of the Fantastic Four. Oh my God, it better be good. It will be. It will be. All right. And if you've seen it though, I'd like to hear from you. Tell me what you thought of the film and what your hopes and expectations are going forward for the DCU. All right. Definitely drop me a line at Dr. Jerem G. That's DRJERMG at coolmeanderings.com. All right. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, I'm out.
This is the Cool Meanderings podcast with Dr. Jerem G.